Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a preview edition of 3 Wide. This week I'll be previewing the upcoming Verizon IndyCar Series race at Pocono Raceway, the ABC Supply 500. In 2013, the Verizon IndyCars returned to Pocono Raceway for the first time since 1989, and in the return to the Tricky Triangle in 2013, it was a 400-mile race and was won by Scott Dixon and his number 9 Honda. Then in 2014, IndyCar changed it to a 500-mile race, and it was won by Juan Pablo Montoya and his Chevy for Penske Racing. Then in 2015, we stayed at 500 miles and was won by Ryan Hunter-Reay in his Honda for Andretti. Then in 2016, when the IndyCars returned to Pocono Raceway, it was won by Will Power and his number 12 Chevy for Penske Racing. Then again in 2017, Will Power outdueled his teammate Joseph Newgarden to win again in his number 12 Penske Chevy. Now the top 5 drivers heading into the Pocono race being ranked by their average finish along with their stats since the open wheel cars returned to Pocono Raceway in 2013 who are still active are number 5, Ryan Hunter-Reay, who has an average finish of 10th. He's won there once, he has 2 top 5s along with 3 top 10s, and has led 72 of the 902 laps he's completed. Hunter-Reay could have been a 2-time winner, but in 2016, after he took the lead from eventual winner Will Power, his car died and he ended up finishing in the 3rd position. Number 4, Simon Pagenaud. At the Pocono Raceway, Simon Pagenaud has an average finish of 8.2. He's never won there. He has 1 top 5, 4 top 10s, and has led 31 of the 917 laps he's completed. As we've seen in the past at the Pocono Raceway, the Penske Chevys have been really fast, and Simon Pagenaud looks to erase that goose egg in his win column. Now on to number 3, Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon has an average finish of 5.4 at the Pocono Raceway, along with 1 win, 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and has led 92 of the 960 laps he's completed. He's also one of 3 drivers to complete all 2,400 miles at the Pocono Raceway. And with the way Scott Dixon's been running this season, I wouldn't be surprised if he adds another one to his win column. Now on to number 2, Joseph Newgarden. Newgarden's stats at the Pocono Raceway are an average finish of 4.2, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's led 73 of the 960 laps he's completed, and he's also one of the 3 drivers who's completed all 2,400 miles at the Pocono Raceway. Whether it was his time at Carpenter Racing or his current time now at Penske Racing, Joseph Newgarden's always been really good at the Pocono Raceway, and last year he finished runner-up to his teammate Will Power. Now this time around, he'll look to better that by 1 position and get his first win at the Tricky Triangle. Now on to number 1, Will Power. Will Power's stats at the Pocono Raceway are an average finish of 4th, 2 wins, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's led 175 of the 960 laps he's completed, and he's also the 3rd driver to complete all 2,400 miles at the Tricky Triangle. Now this time heading into Pocono, Will Power is the 2018 Indianapolis 500 champion, and now he'll look to keep up his dominance at the Pocono Raceway, potentially winning 3 in a row, as well as adding his 2nd 500-mile victory to his belt this season. Now 2 surprising stats in the lap leader column to me are who are 2nd and 3rd in terms of the most laps led. First is obviously Will Power. 3rd on the list is Marco Andretti, who's led 97 laps of the 898 he's completed at Pocono Raceway. Number 2 is Tony Kanaan in terms of laps led. He's led 147 of the 891 laps he's completed. And 7th in terms of laps led at Pocono Raceway are, in only 2 races, Alexander Rossi. In those 2 races, Alexander Rossi's led 48 of the 263 laps he's completed at the Pocono Raceway. Now with Rossi trying to reel in Scott Dixon in the championship, he'll look to better his stats at Pocono Raceway. Now with all that being said, I'll get into my 3 things to look ahead to at the ABC Supply 500. Number 1, Power goes for 3 in a row. The past 2 times that the IndyCars have been at Pocono, it's been Will Power in victory lane. Now this time around, having the Indianapolis 500 victory under his belt, Power looked to go for 3 in a row. And who knows, with some major problems to the championship contenders ahead of him, and with double points at Sonoma, this might be the point of the season where Will Power turns the season around and can get the championship, the 2nd of his career. Number 2, Marco wins at home. Every time the IndyCars go to Pocono Raceway, the driver who probably gets the loudest reception is Marco Andretti, as he's from Nazareth, nearby. Every time the IndyCars are at Pocono, Marco usually puts on a decent show and performs pretty well. Last year he tried some pit strategy and led a couple laps, and he has the 3rd most laps led of any active driver who will be in the race. So now we'll see if Andretti can get his third career win in the IndyCars. The last time Marco won an IndyCar race was in 2011 at Iowa, and the last time Marco won before Iowa in 2011 was in his rookie year at 2006 where he won at Sonoma Raceway. Now Andretti will hope to break his 122 race losing streak at probably the second biggest race for his family at Pocono Raceway. Now on to number 3. Can anyone get their first win of the season or career? As we know, the race at Pocono is 500 miles long, which is a really long race. It can become a war of attrition and can see who can survive to get the win. And with it being 500 miles long, your team will have a lot of time, many miles, to work on the car and get it to where you need it to be at the end. 2 guys I'm looking at to get their first wins of the season are number 1, Tony Kanaan. Tony Kanaan has the second most laps led of any driver who will be in the race at Pocono, and at the Indianapolis 500 he was one of the better cars. He probably would have been up there battling with Will Power if he didn't have a pit stop problem and he didn't spin out in the race. Tony Kanaan also has the added pressure of his sponsor ABC Supply being the title sponsor for the race, and Kanaan's looking to win for the first time in the IndyCars since 2014 at Fontana. Number 2 is Ed Carpenter. Ed Carpenter won the pole for the Indianapolis 500 this year, and he also finished second to Will Power. Ed Carpenter is an oval specialist and will look to get his first one in the IndyCar since 2014 at Texas. And the one driver I'm looking at who could get his first win of his career at Pocono is Robert Wickens. Going into the season in IndyCars, very few people knew who Robert Wickens was, but that changed at the first race at St. Petersburg where he dominated and then had the problem with Alexander Rossi where he didn't get a win in his first race in the IndyCars. Wickens has come close at many tracks this year, such as Phoenix where he got passed by Joseph Newgarden who had new tires. The Indianapolis Grand Prix he finished third where he got beat off pit road by Will Power who ended up winning that race. He was close to getting his first career win at Iowa where he came in to get tires but the race did not start back up and he ended up finishing 5th. He also had a podium finish at Toronto and he finished second to Alexander Rossi at Mid-Ohio. So now with Wickens riding this huge wave of momentum where in the last 4 races that the IndyCars have had, he's finished no worse than 5th. I could see him potentially breaking through and getting his first career win at the Pocono Raceway. So now my 3 picks heading into the ABC Supply 500 are Will Power, he's won the last 2 and until someone beats him there, I won't be picking against him. Number 2 would be Joseph Newgarden, he finished second last year and he's been really good there in the past. And number 3, a dark horse to me would be Tony Kanaan. Tony Kanaan was really good at Indy this year and he was just at the test today at Pocono Raceway. Now we'll see if his AJ Foyt team can turn that data from the test into a fast car for the race and Tony Kanaan can end up in victory lane. So that'll do it for this preview edition of 3 Wide. Leave your thoughts about the ABC Supply 500 in the comment section below and thanks for watching.